Good evening everyone and welcome to round number 5 of the Sim-Lab.eu Formula 3 Championship hosted by Exile Virtual Motorsports. My name is Sebastian Gerd and I'll be your host tonight for 2 races and 15 minutes each. That's what we have to expect for tonight, and already some drivers spinning out while we're still in the practice session. We are running a bit late, so it will take like 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes longer than usually. Usually we should be done at 8:45, but as you can see on the left top of your screen, it's will be a little bit later this time. They restarted the server, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. We are at the Red Bull Ring, and this might be a surprise for some of our viewers tonight, because the first track that was picked was Zandvoort. Some of our viewers already know on Wednesday before the race we have a draw when the tracks are picked by chance. So there's like a fortune wheel spun, and then you get information which track you have to race on 2 days later. And first it was Zandvoort, but because of an update there was an issue with the track, so we switched to the Red Bull Ring, which is a big difference to Zandvoort. High speed track. I think we will see a lot of drafting tonight, and I hope we don't see that kind of a crash we had in Watkins Glen in race number 2. Caused a lot of discussion in the Facebook group afterwards. So hopefully this time everyone takes care and we see some proper and clean racing. But what we also want to see is how does it look at the championship. And well, that's interesting, because we have still Cliff van der Wien in the lead, but he got unlucky in the last 2 races, so he lost a lot of points, or he gained not enough points to increase the gap to the drivers in the positions behind him. It's the opposite now. Matt Powney with a double victory in Watkins Glen. He closed into Cliff van der Wien a lot, just 24 points down to the leader. So it's 700 points for Matt Powney. Dan Blake in third with 692, only 8 points to Matt Powney. Then it's Thorsten Berger, the German driver, 650 points ahead of Morten Wels, who climbed up to 5th with 624 points. Then it's Antonis Papagiannopoulos, 587 points in 6th position. Only 23 points ahead of his Greek fellow Nikos Papamikael with 564, and then it's Chris Bourne with 518. He had a DNF in the second race in Watkins Glen because of the big crash. I can only encourage you to watch the last stream, because that was a really impressive big one. You usually only see in stock car racing on Watkins Glen. Gavin Utley in 9th position with 592 points, and then Rick Fowler completing the top 10 currently with 416 points. But of course there are some more drivers, and so we are looking at the top 20. It's Brian Larson in 11th with 416 points. So on the same level as Rick Fowler. Martin Ash in 12th with 412. Then again only 4 points ahead of Sandro Zara with on 13th place. Then it's Daryl Seabright in 14th with 376 points. Chris Wilson in 15th. Darren Boulton 16th. Mike Tanti on 17th. Nick Curry on 18th. Mark Harris 19th. And John Loden in 20th position currently in the championship. There are also a few more drivers, but I think this might take too long to get them all together, especially because some of the drivers are just showing up from time to time. who definitely showed up most of the time. That's him. That's Rick Fowler in this purple car. Very distinctive paint job on his Formula 3 race car. But quickest driver in the practice currently Morten Wells. He's in the pits. And then there's Nikos Papamikail, who had, yeah, one good race and one quite not so good race in Watkins Glen. First run he finished in 5th, and then he also got collected in that big crash and finished in 20th in the second race. So I think there would have been a lot more points for him if this mishap didn't occur in the last race. But we still have some more to come, and maybe he will figure something out here tonight on the Red Bull Ring. It's currently looking quite good for him. Second fastest lap, but more than half a second slower than Morten Wells. That's quite a lot. We are still waiting for Cliff Van de Veen, and I already heard the some people in the voice chat of the drivers. One asked for him, so like, where is Cliff? Because he's the championship leader, but currently he is nowhere to find. Hopefully he will show up in the next few minutes, or maybe in the qualifying. Of course, if you are logged into YouTube and watching this live, you of course can join me in the chat. I'm of course reading there from time to time, and if there are any questions or any hints, like maybe there could be a technical issue or something, just give me short info. And what you are hearing currently, I thought I switched it off, but there is Dimitarjanev, obviously with some issues with his skin. So the paint job on his car, you of course, if you create your own paint job, you have to send it in, and it has to be put on the server and everything. And there seems to be a problem for Dimitarjanev. Hopefully this will be fixed and he can make it to the server. Otherwise we might have a restart of the server, and I hope I get this information and not just like they pull the plug and I have to figure it out myself. Dimitarjanev, we only saw him in Silverstone so far. Since then he didn't take part in any other races, but he raced in the opening event in Silverstone. Matt Pawnee closing in, well, at least a little bit to Morten Wells. Oh, running wide. Well, Red Bull Ring, formerly known as A1 Ring, or when it opened, Österreich Ring, in English of course, Austria Ring. And there were some changes over the years, and it was reopened not so long ago actually as Red Bull Ring. 2011. It actually didn't change that much to the A1 ring, but of course to the old and original track there are a lot of differences. It's still a high-speed track, but not as much as the first one that opened in 1969. Oh, and Matt Powney spinning out right in front of Dimitar Yanev, and it's great to see that he could make it on the server. Problems are fixed, and the Bulgarian driver will be here in the qualifying and in both races, hopefully, because we already had some drivers that only raced in the first run and then they left the server before the second race. And we only have a short break between the two races, so 15 minutes each, and then it's like a 3 or 4 minute break before the second race starts. So it's all going very, very quick here at the Sim-Lab.eu Formula 3 Championship, hosted by Exile Virtual Motorsports. If you're interested in, or if you're watching this and you're interested in sim racing in general, just, yeah, ask some of these guys of the Exile Virtual Motorsports. A very interesting group of people, funny guys, fun to talk to, and definitely fun to read what they are writing in the Facebook group. So just, yeah, you can ask me, of course. Send me a mail on the SG Broadcasting, or look me up on Facebook and I can send you to these guys, or just, of course, look for Exile Virtual Motorsports, because they are running more than just this Formula 3 Championship on Assetto Corsa. There's some more going on. They're currently working on another championship for Assetto Corsa. There's some R-Factor 2 racing going on. So if you're interested in this, just look for Exile Virtual Motorsports. Dimitar Yanev in 8th in the practice currently, and there are only 11 drivers that set proper lap time. I think there are a few more on the server, but they are not shown in the tower on the left of your screen. So maybe I can find some of them. I have to work with my keyboard now. There's Martin Ash in the gravel, then there's Morten Wells, the fastest driver currently on the track. Arnold Petkowski. He had his debut on the Daytona road course and caused quite some trouble in his first appearance, but he got better, and we will see him here tonight with his quite distinctive green and black car. I think that's Brian Larson behind him. Yes. And Morten Wells almost under this 1:29 lap time. Looking for 1:28. Of course, if you are in the slipstream on this track, you can get a lot faster and of course improve your lap time, maybe more than half of a second. So I think that's something these drivers have to consider in the qualifying, to try to stay behind some of the other drivers to take advantage from the slipstream. Rick Fowler just passing Brian Larson, who ran off the track in the Schlossgold corner. Second, more or less hairpin. It's not a proper hairpin, so to speak. So let's see who is in the pits as well. We didn't see so far. There's Dan Blake, currently in 7th. Then it's Jason Ashfield. Jason Ashfield, new driver, or not exactly new driver. He was in the list right at the beginning of this championship, but it's his first race in the championship because he couldn't take part in the other rounds so far. So we're all looking forward to see how quick Jason Ashfield can go. He didn't set a lap time so far. It's a 1:31, but well, maybe he's in 11th. That's kind of strange. Yes. Okay, so it's not Martin Ash. It's Jason Ashfield in 11th, and Martin Ash didn't set a lap time. This is my car, and there's Martin Ash behind. So this might get a little bit difficult to figure out in our tower on the left. There is Seawright disconnected from the server. Why would he do that? And I think the red car in the back, way in the back of the pits, that's Mike Tanti, if I'm not mistaken. There's John Loden, Morten Wells, Nikos Papa Mikael. Yeah, and that's the car of Mike Tanti. And just right in the moment when I try to get a better picture of his car, he's leaving the pits anyway. Dan Blake in front of him. On the right, we just saw Arnold Petkowski. And there is a yellow flag somewhere on the track. But that's not because of my car. Sometimes there's a small problem because maybe if my car starts rolling or something. I'll just check this out. Still yellow flag. I'm sorry, I have to check if this is probably because of my car standing in the pits. No, now it's over. Sometimes happens that the TV car, because it's like you starting the car, and then if the car moves slightly and then comes to a stop, but somewhere in the pits you sometimes cause a yellow flag unnecessarily, so I just had to check on this. Morten Wells, I'm trying to figure out how to start to training a proper standing start, because of course both races will have standing starts, and he currently looks like he has the ability to get on pole position in the qualifying in the next few seconds. Hopefully we will switch, because we always have to wait until all of the drivers stopped in the pits. Otherwise it takes like 4 or 5 minutes until the server switches to the next session. But the Red Bull Ring, actually not that short, but a very, very fast track. So it's 4.318 kilometers or 2.683 miles, but there are only a few corners that are really slow, and then there's a lot of high-speed racing on those long straights, and especially that kind of infield with the Rau, with the word Kurve. They are quite fast, especially with these cars. So no slow track at all. Pawnee in the pits, and yeah, that was quick. So maybe they changed something on the server settings. As you can see, 100% grip on the track. This will never change. Air temperature 21 degrees, asphalt 30 degrees Celsius, and we will have a 15-minute qualifying, which will start in the next few seconds. You can see it. You can't see it because of our advertising on the top of the screen, and I can't switch this off. We have to wait. And here we go. So what's going on here now? No, that wasn't our car. I think that was the car of Dimitaryanev, just spinning around quite strange. Yeah, Dimitaryanev almost spun out before even leaving the pits. There's Matt Powney behind him. And almost all of the drivers already out on the track because even though the lap times are quite short here on the Red Bull Ring, they try to use as much of the time they have for the qualifying. Thorsten Berger, I'm not sure which line to choose against Mike Tanti. Guys, we are in the qualification. We are not in the race. It's probably the worst thing that can happen if you cause a crash with your with some other driver, not your teammate. Then it would be horrible, but these guys are not racing in teams, so just have a crash with some other driver during the qualifying, then you can be sure that someone will really be very, very angry. And maybe throw some words at you I won't say. Now, Rick Fowler letting Thorsten Berger pass, obviously. The purple car on the right, that's Rick Fowler behind Dimitaryanev, but we will stay with the Bulgarian driver who luckily made it onto the server. After having some issues with his car. One of the drivers mentioned that he never spun out on a track so much as he did during the training here on the Red Bull Ring, which at first seems a bit strange because there are not so many corners, 8 corners overall on this track, but very, very tricky corners, especially the slow ones, the hairpins first corner, the Remus corner, that's more or less a hairpin, and you're in low gear, so like second gear, and then if you hit the throttle, these cars don't have ABS and they don't have traction control, so you have to be very, very gentle on the throttle, otherwise you spin out, and that obviously happened to at least one of the drivers very, very often. Dimitaryanev still recorded as outlap, so he obviously cut the track somewhere. Thorsten Berger behind him with a 1:31. That's a lot slower, but everyone is quite slow currently. John Loden now with a pole, but I don't think we can rely on these times at all. Someone just shortly showed up in my channel, but I thought I let Jason Ashfield at least drive a few qualification laps before picking him up to our broadcast channel, because he agreed to talk to us before the first race, just for a few minutes, but I wanted to wait until he set a proper lap time, so he doesn't have to start from the back of the field. Yeah, so Cliff Van de Wien made it onto the server, and it's not much of a surprise, setting the fastest lap time, but still 0.2 of a second slower than Martin Wells in the practice session. But this is like 5 minutes into the qualifying, and Cliff Van der Wien already with like the second fastest time of the whole field. Of course, he wants to increase the gap again in the championship. Especially, he has to stay ahead of Matt Powney, who's currently in 4th. But I'm curious how Morten Wells will do. There's a 2 minute 20, so this is more or less some sort of an outlap he's driving at the moment. Ooh, almost spinning out in the Remus corner. You see a lot of tire tracks which are direction more to the wall than out of the corner. So that's where these guys already spun out. Brian Larson, second fastest time. And one of the, so is it Ashfield or Ash? It's Jason Ashfield, who spun out in turn 1. But I want to find, well, one of the drivers who may be coming up for the next lap. And Dimitar Yanev in 4th now. Very fast time by the Bulgarian driver. And now we are on board with Arnold Petkowski coming up to the Castrol Edge corner. First corner and already very, very tricky. Losing the car on. He almost got it. There's Nikos Papamikael flying past him. And that's the Greek driver. And we will continue this lap on board with Papamikael coming up to the Remus corner. Very, very tricky. Very, very slow corner. And he's also spinning out. Jesus Christ, what's happening with you guys? I want at least want someone with a fast lap. Oh, and that's John Loudon. Yeah, just losing the connection just for a moment. Everything's fine. We are sorry for switching through all these drivers. Now here we have the new guy. More or less new guy, but he is on his first round here in this Formula 3 championship, but he's also coming already up to the Schlossgold corner. And it looks a bit like he's still figuring out how to use the proper line on this track. Matt Powney now up in 3rd. Okay, so let's stick with him. He's in 2nd place in the championship currently, and he has to fight for a very, very good starting position for the first race. Sometime to stay close to Cliff Van der Wien. So now the Remus corner, he's driving slow. Maybe he wants to let someone pass. Yeah, that's Arnold Petkowski. And I think we started the whole thing with Petkowski, so now we are back on board with Petkowski, but he's slowing down for Cliff. No, it's Morten Wells, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there he is. Schlossgold corner. You can use different lines on this turn. And then it's the Rauch corner. Long left-hander. So be very careful not to go wide outside out of the turn. Running into the gravel. Vert Kurve. Another very fast corner. And then it's the Rindt corner. Turn number 7. And the Red Bull Mobile corner. Last turn on this track. He is going very, very wide. Way over the curb onto that AstroTurf stuff. You can easily lose control with your car because the grip is way... or you do have less grip than on the asphalt of the track. Cliff van der Wien going for this 1.29. Brian Larson second, Matt Powney third. Then it's already a second behind Cliff van der Wien. That's Dimitar. So his comeback here in this Formula 3 championship looks very, very good. John Loden in fifth, then it's Thorsten Berger in sixth, Nikos Papamikael seventh, then Blake eighth, Daryl Seavright in ninth, and Arnold Petkowski, as we see him here, currently in the top 10 for the first race, for the starting position in the first race. We'll see if he can finish in 10th position in the first 15-minute race. Afterwards, the entire grid will be reversed, so who finished last in race 1 will start from first in race number 2, and that always caused some very interesting mix-up in the entire grid. Martin Wells up to 4th, Sandro Zara parked his car somewhere. Unintentionally, I think. Mike Tanti up to 14th. That's the man who's responsible for those nice overlays for our overview, for the standings, all that design material, that's all his work. And it seems like he doesn't find enough time for racing or training because of that. 3 seconds slower than Cliff van der Wien on this track. That's a lot. That's really a lot. But still 2 minutes 18 to go, so there will be another timed lap for Mike Tanti. So will we see some improvement by Mike Tanti? That looks like a 1:30. No, that didn't work out. He missed his current lap, or his best lap time, by 60 thousandths of a second. At least that's quite a very constant lap. So Martin Wells in the pits, so we won't see any more lap times by the Danish driver. Brian Larson still underway, but as you can see, 3:28, so I don't think he will be able to set another lap time. Dimitar just spinning out in front of us. Rick Fowler obviously with a problem in 13th. Always if you see the initials of the driver shown in yellow, that means the car is standing. And it means not standing in the pits, but somewhere else where it shouldn't where it shouldn't park. So Brian Larson, Cliff van der Wien, there he is. Maybe his last try to go below 1:29. Arnold Petkowski stopped this car, and Thorsten Berger moving up to 5th position in probably his last timed lap. He moves up to 5th. Still in the 3rd row for the starting grid, but now ahead of Dimitar Yanev. Dan Blake still going, but there's also a very, very high lap time, so that won't be a proper result. Nikos Papamikael, it's the same. Sandro Zara still going. And it looks like Sandro Zara chose a different skin for tonight. Or maybe he mixed something up with Jason Ashfield, because I thought Ashfield had... Sandro Zara had the paint job that Jason Ashfield has on his car. Sandro Zara missed his current best lap time. Stays in 12th. Rick Fowler in 13th in the pits. Mike Tanti still going. But that's been it with the qualifying for race number 1 of the Sim-Lab.eu Formula 3 Championship, hosted by Exile Virtual Motorsports. And now we have to wait. Still 35 seconds until the drivers are allowed to park their cars in the starting grid. They don't park them. The simulation actually does. And that's a problem, because the simulation also puts our car, or my car, the TV car, on the track. And I will have to remove it. The race start. So here we go. Cliff Van der Wien on the right. The blue car next to Brian Larson, who will be on the inside for turn number 1, so maybe the better situation for Brian Larson, but if you make it right, you are quicker on the outside through turn 1. And Cliff Van der Wien, I think, knows about that. Martin Wells right behind him on the right side, and then there's Matt Powney, the double victor from Watkins Glen, starting from 4th position here in race number 1 on the Red Bull Ring. Lights are on, and when they are off, we are racing. Cliff Van der Wien out of the race, obviously. For some reason we lost him. Cliff Van der Wien is somehow out of the race, and Brian Larson, of course, in the lead now, ahead of Martin Wells. There's Matt Powney behind him in 3rd. He couldn't take a position, and I think Thorsten Berger just spun out, and we have a big one out of turn number 1. Big crash. What the hell is going on? Rick Fowler spun out, and I think there was a black car involved. Not sure. Oh, it looks like Dimitar Yanev, because he dropped down to 14th. So his car was involved. Maybe Nikos Papamikael. Yeah, could be, but he was picked up by some of the spinning cars. And Matt Powney in... Oh, that's Darryl Seafright. Sorry. He's in 13th. Lost a few positions. It was hard to see from that perspective who actually spun out first. But again, a big crash, this time in the first race. We had another big crash in Watkins Glen, but that was in the second race. So only these 3 guys got out safely, and that's Brian Larson, Martin Wells, and Matt Powney in 3rd. Cliff Van der Wien is back. He had a disconnect, obviously, and he's already on the track, but he had to start from the pits and is now in 17th position, but only 7 seconds behind Dan Blake. So there's still a chance for Cliff Van der Wien to take some positions. John Loden in 4th, already way behind of these 3 guys in front. Arnold Petkowski trying to defend against Thorsten Berger. Coming up to turn number 1. There's Sandro Zara in front, and Arnold Petkowski going wide, hitting Thorsten Berger and sending him off the track, but Luckily the German driver had still some of this surface alongside the curb. Didn't run out on the grass, almost hitting Arnold Petkowski in the back. It's a, yeah, of course it's a matter of the braking point. It's about the dirty air you get from the car in front of you, so maybe you don't have enough downforce and you start sliding, but Thorsten Berger figured a way out to pass Arnold Petkowski. Made a slight mistake in Remus corner, so Petkowski down to 7th. Nick Curry in 8th. And that's quite interesting because Curry, if I'm not mistaken, started from way behind the field. He didn't set a lap time. And now he's in 8th. Ahead of Mike Tanti, and there's someone going off, and I think that's Jason Ashfield. Right, that's Jason Ashfield on his debut here in the Formula 3 Championship. Slight mistake out of the Rauch corner. And it's not Rauch because of smoke. Brian Larson still in front of Pawnee and then Wells. Oh, and Martin Ash sliding out of the last corner, Castrol Edge corner. Hopefully he didn't hit the wall and got some damage on his car, but there is already Cliff van der Wien coming up. The Dutch driver, the championship leader. After starting out of the pits, he's already in 13th. Dan Blake in the pits. And Thorsten Berger fighting with Sandro Zara. So maybe another position for the German driver. Sandro Zara defending, but he will be on the outside into Remus corner. Arnold Petkowski right behind the two in the black and green car. And we already have been through Remus corner. So this is Schlossgold corner. Sandro Zara taking a wide line, but that's maybe the best for defending against Thorsten Berger. But Thorsten Berger developing a lot of grip on the inside. Arnold Petkowski takes a look in the middle and he tried to take advantage. Now Berger spins out. Sandro Zara and Arnold Petkowski avoiding a crash with these two guys running out into the gravel. So now Berger dropped down to 12th. Even Dimitaryanev passes him. Oh, they got a little bit close, Sandro Zara and Thorsten Berger. And Arnold Petkowski almost made it, but now Mike Tanti in 6th position. I don't think he expected that before the race start. He qualified in 14th, so up. He climbed up 8 positions just by the slight mistakes of other drivers, but now he makes his own mistake out of turn number 1, and now he has to be very, very careful. There's Dimitaryanev off the track, but already going Thorsten Berger, Martin Ash, and Mike Tanti drops back to 14th position. I can't believe it. He just this is really, really sad. He did a good job in the first 5 minutes to avoid everything, to climb up to 6th, and then, yeah. Castrol Edge corner, always a tricky corner here on Red Bull Ring. And he got caught up by it. So, there's Matt Pawnee now in 2nd. Made it past Morten Wells, who's in 3rd. Brian Larson still leading, and that's actually Darius Seabright, who's a lap down behind Morten Wells, because Morten Wells is 5 seconds ahead of John Loden. Matt Pawnee still chasing Larson. That could be, yeah, that's the chase for maybe his 3rd victory in a row, if he can make it past Larson. There's Dan Blake, very slow, even going out to the grass. I don't know why. There's enough space. There's really enough space on these long straights here on the Red Bull Ring to let someone pass. Slight mistake there in the back by Morten Wells. And that's why Wells is losing more and more time to these two drivers in front of him. So it looks like the win for race number 1 will be decided between these two guys. Brian Larson in the yellow car ahead of Matt Powney. Brian Larson finished in 2nd and 4th on the Daytona road course. Then had some problems in Watkins Glen, finishing in 9th and 12th. And now he's looking for a victory in race number 1 here on the Red Bull Ring. Let's take a look further back to Nikos Papamikael behind Nick Curry. Nick Curry doing a very, very good job there in 5th position currently. And really he didn't set a lap time in the qualifying. So now he's under attack by Nikos Papamikael. Coming up to the Castro Edge corner. We know several drivers had some problems, and yeah, Curry misjudged obviously the braking spot of Nikos Papamikael. So slight touching in the back, but both are still going. And behind him that's already Cliff Van der Wien. It's just impressive what the Dutch driver is capable of, because they are driving with fixed setup. It's not like Cliff Van der Wien found out some magic technical thing on these cars to adjust and then he's quicker than everyone else. It's just down to the driver abilities. It's not the car, it's just the driver, and Cliff Van der Wien does an impressive, astonishing job being that fast with this car. Running on the outside against Nick Curry. I think Cliff Van der Wien will have this 6th position. There he is. Nick Curry dropping down after Nikos Papamikael passed him as well. And now Cliff Van der Wien already going for the top 5 after starting out of the pits. And we have a change in front. And there's Matt Powney now ahead of Brian Larson. Slow driving out of turn number 1. I think something happened there. And Matt Powney again in the lead. So third race in a row that he's in front. But I don't think Brian Larson will get away easily. Oh, and we have a DNF by John Loden. And that looks like a disconnect. Ah, there he is. We had the same issue during the qualifying. Now he's somewhere on the track. Still in 4th, if I'm not mistaken. So who's there in the back? That's Nikos Papamikael. Yeah, John Loden. Some problems, but he's still going. And he's still 5 seconds almost ahead of Nikos Papamikael. So still 4th position in reach for John Loden. Who already finished 4th in Watkins Glen in the first race, but then dropped down to 16th in race number 2. So hopefully race number 2 will be better this time. And Brian Larson trying to keep up with Matt Powney. Still a bit more than 4 minutes to go here in race number 1 on the Red Bull Ring. Cliff Van der Wien attacking and passing Nikos Papamikael. But only 4 minutes to go. There will be 3 more laps for Cliff Van der Wien. So I don't think he can make it up to John Loden. He is very fast, but closing a gap of 4 seconds within 3 laps, I don't think this will work out. Matt Powney already ahead for more than a second now of Brian Larson. So we are looking further back to Jason Ashfield, who's looking for a top 10 finish in his first race, but under attack by Dimitaryanev, Bulgarian driver. But he steps back, almost touching Ashfield. Still everything's fine, but Dimitaryanev going for position number 10. That's no, that's not Martin Ash in front of him. That's Thorsten Berger. He will be frustrated, I think, Thorsten Berger, because of the crash with Sandro Sara, who's in 8th. And I think it was Jason Ashfield's livery on the car that Sandro Sara used most of the time during the season, and now Jason Ashfield took it and Sandro Sara has a different looking car. The Maltese driver in 8th currently, 3 seconds ahead of Thorsten Berger. And if he doesn't make any more mistakes, he will stay on this 8th position, I'm sure. But Jason Ashfield now. Will he move to the inside line or will he stay on the outside? It looks like he's staying on the outside for the Remus corner, and that's the chance for Dimitrianev. Now crossing the line by Jason Ashfield. Dimitrianev on the curb, searching for grip for his rear wheels, and this worked out very well for Dimitrianev. Jason Ashfield down to 11th. 1.5 minutes to go here in race number 1 on the Red Bull Ring. And there's Arnold Petkowski closing in, surprisingly. But he's running out of time. Brian Larson closing in again to Matt Powney. And that's the last lap for the two of them. And there's a mistake by Brian Larson. Oh, nice catch. But there's Morten Wells now coming up. And he took a lot more momentum out of turn number 1. And there's Brian Larson on the inside. There's something wrong with Brian Larson. Well, not with Brian Larson, but maybe his car. Brian Larson slowing down. And he lets Morten Wells pass for unknown reasons. Maybe there's some technical issues. Maybe his wheel back home at his PC isn't working properly. Oh, I'm not sure. Brian Larson now down to 3rd. But I think it will stay this way for the rest of this race, because we are in the final lap. Matt Powney looking for his 3rd victory in a row, but of course he got the advantage because of the short disconnect of Cliff van der Wien. I'm pretty sure Cliff van der Wien would have caused a lot of trouble for these guys, but Matt Powney, first race win here on the Red Bull Ring. Congratulations, Morten Wells in 2nd, and that means he stays clearly in the top 5 in the championship. Brian Larson in 3rd, and then there's Cliff van der Wien in 4th. So he started out from the pits about 10 seconds behind the rest of the field, and he made it up to 4th. This is just unbelievable. John Loudon in 5th, then Nikos Papamikael finishing in 6th, Nick Curry in 7th, Sandro Sara 8th, in front of Thorsten Berger in 9th. Then there's Dimitrianev after his return here in the Formula 3 Championship. In the top 10, then it's Jason Ashfield in 11th, Arnold Petkowski 12th, who will be very, very frustrated that he couldn't take advantage from the accident of Sandro Sara and Thorsten Berger. Then there's Martin Ash in 13th. Mike Tanti finishing in 14th. Oh, I almost expected him slamming his car in the wall because of frustration. Rick Fowler, last driver in the lead lap, in 15th. Darius Seabright and Dan Blake already finished with 1 lap behind of the rest of the drivers. And there's Rick Fowler now in 15th, but this is the driver who took the win here in race number 1 and who will start from the back of the field in race number 2. we should consider that his, well, let's say his second victory in Watkins Glen was due to the big accident in lap number 1 behind the after the S's on this long straight, and he somehow passed everyone and made it up to the cars in front. I don't think that he would have taken that second victory if there wouldn't have been this big crash, so I think he will have, yeah, a hard time getting up into the lead again here in race number 2. But never say never. Yeah, now we have to wait for some reasons why we are switching into the second race session. We'll take a short break from this broadcast. I hope you stay with us. I think we will be back in like 1 or 2 minutes. So, and that was quicker than I expected. So no short break, because we have a wait time of 1 minute. Everything going very, very quick here in this Formula 3 championship. Again, 50 minutes, but this time with a reversed grid. The entire grid is reversed, so we will actually see yeah. I think it was Dan Blake. Yeah, Dan Blake will start from first position here in race number 2, and Matt Powney at the back of the field, the black car behind all the other cars. That's our TV car. I will have to remove that one in right after the race start. Try to pick up the car of Dan Blake. I'm sorry for this flickering, there's no other way to do it. So here's the car of Dan Blake. And next to him with the Scottish flag on the nose of his F3 car, that's Darrell Seabright. And then Rick Fowler in the purple car ahead of Mike Tanti and Martin Ash, and then you can see the green and black car. Now I can see it, you can't see it because of something that. Lights are going off right now and we are racing. So let's check for the drivers in front. Dan Blake on the outside for the Castrol corner, turn number 1. He stays in front of Seabright, and there's the next crash. That's Martin Ash and Petkowski. Oh no, Arne Martin Ash just spinning out a tire 180-degree turn. Arnold Petkowski going already, and behind of them, in front of them, there is crazy stuff going on. There's Dimitarjanev attacking Thorsten Berger. Then there's Nick Curry, the black, white, and orange car. That's Sandro Zara, and then the black car of Nikos Papamikael, and they are crashing into each other. John Loden is involved. There's Brian Larson involved. Oh, Sandro Zara, and I think it was Cliff Van de Veen again. Matt Powney in 13th. He also was picked up by some of the spinning cars. And Nikos Papamikael is somehow figuring out how to get this car moving again. Sandro Zara down to 16th. Oh no, no, no. Again a big one. This time it was after the Remus corner. And it looked like Papamikael slightly lost the car. Then there was a connection issue and then he crashed into Sandro Zara. So I'm not sure if this even was anyone's fault or if it just was a mistake or a problem with the connection of one of the drivers. Maybe Zara hit the back of Papa Michael because of a connection issue. And there's Jason Ashfield going very slow. I think he's letting some of the faster drivers pass because it's his debut here in the Formula 3 Championship. And Cliff Van der Ween in the pits. And that definitely means he will lose again points to Matt Powney. He's now up to 12th, but 9 seconds behind John Loden. So that will be a hard piece of work for Matt Powney to at least get into the top 10. We are with Nick Curry in 6th behind Dimitar Yanev. Less than half of a second gap to the Bulgarian driver. We are on board with Nick Curry. There's Mike Tanti going wide. And Thorsten Berger takes 3rd position from Mike Tanti. Dimitar Yanev also looking for a gap against Mike Tanti. Nick Curry slowing down. Very, very dangerous situation there for Nick Curry. Because if you are already on the throttle, exiting the corner, and then you have to brake again, the rear is getting very, very loose and you tend to spin out. Nick Curry slowing down because he is watching the fight between Dimitar Yanev and Mike Tanti, and now he maybe can make the move against Dimitar Yanev. No, that doesn't work out, but he is also ahead of Mike Tanti. Where's Tanti? Yeah, he's fighting back. He's on the inside for turn number 1, and maybe Mike Tanti at least getting back into 5th against Nick Curry. Nick Curry closing the gap into the corner, but sliding. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Somehow he can stay in front of Mike Tanti. It looked like the driver in the red and white car was very careful on the throttle. Otherwise, he might have had a chance to catch Nick Curry on the long straight uphill to the Remus corner. But Curry already getting away from Mike Tanti. There's Rick Fowler in 7th, followed by Jason Ashfield, and it's Martin Werth in 9th. Arnold Petkowski in 10th. Now Rick Fowler locking up the right front tire while braking into Schlossgold corner. And now it's Jason Ashfield looking for a gap against the driver in the purple car, Morten Wells, who finished on the podium, right behind the 2 drivers fighting for 7th. There are some difficulties choosing the proper line for Rick Fowler to defend against Jason Ashfield, which didn't work out. So Ashfield in 7th, and there's Martin Wells also trying to make a move. He's on the inside. There's Arnold Petkowski. They're opening a 3-wide. Petkowski in the inside, on the inside of Martin Wells, and both are locking up. And I think Rick Fowler stays in 8th. Oh, Martin Wells will be really, really angry at Arnold Petkowski now, because Petkowski locked up, just sliding straight out the corner, hitting Martin Wells. They're still going, but Petkowski now in 9th. Then there's John Loden in 10th, and Martin Wells dropping down to 11th. And there's Matt Powney coming from behind in 12th. Oh, John Loden with a slight mistake out of the Remus corner. Something we've definitely seen already tonight. Oh, Rick Fowler locking up again. Oh, John Loden, same issue. So the right front tire locks up very easily when you're going into Schlossgold corner. There's Matt Powney behind the Martin Wells up in 9th because Petkowski loses it out of the Rauch corner. That's where he ran wide, trying to avoid the accident between Berger and Zara in race number 1. This time he spun out, I think, completely by himself. So no other driver involved. Let's look at the front to Dan Blake. Where what a race evening that would be for Dan Blake. Finishing in last position in race number 1 and now leading the race for race number 2. And he's in front of Thorsten Berger now with more than 4 seconds ahead, and we are close to halftime. Matt Powney passing Rick Fowler. Not much defending there from the driver in the purple car. And there's Brian Larson in the back. And Jason Ashfield spun out in turn number 1. Oh, that's pretty sad because he was on a good run. In 8th position, now dropping down to 12th. And Brian Larson attacking Rick Fowler. Brian Larson, who finished 2nd behind Matt Powney, again chasing the maybe even championship leader after this race. It's looking good for Matt Powney. He was in front of, behind Cliff Van der Wien for 24 points, and Cliff Van der Wien is currently in last position because he had to pit after the big crash in the first lap. And I don't think he will make it up further in the field this time. So no magic by the Dutch driver in race number 2. He's way behind the rest of the drivers. Slight mistake by Matt Powney here out of the last corner, and I think that's the 8th position for Brian Larson. Yeah, nice move by Brian Larson. Just saw that slide going wide by Matt Powney and took his opportunity, but there is Powney already fighting back. Oh, slowing down very, very early. So no attacking here on the inside into Remus corner by Matt Powney. Brian Larson stays in 8th position. Morten Wells 3 seconds ahead in 7th. Thorsten Berger getting one more away from Darius Seabright in 3rd. So Thorsten Berger trying to close the gap to Dan Blake. Thorsten Berger, very, very fast driver, but got unlucky way too often. Finished in 4th and 6th in Watkins Glen, and he almost took a victory in Daytona, but was overtaken by Cliff Van der Wien in the last lap of the race. So there is Seabright under attack by Dimitarjanev, and the Scotsman has to step back. Dimitarjanev now in 3rd, and Nick Curry in the back of these 2 drivers fighting for the last place on the podium. Mike Tanti in 6th, and Mike Tanti is under pressure by Morten Wells. Morten Wells, who finished in 2nd in race number 1. I think he should definitely be faster than Mike Tanti. But can he also pass Mike Tanti? That's the real issue now for the Danish driver. You can see Brian Larson in the back, staying ahead of Matt Powney. And Wells on the inside to Schlossgold corner, and he takes 6th place from Mike Tanti. Nothing he will be too worried about. I think he knows that Morten Wells is quicker, and those 4.5 minutes are just too much time to hold him back. So Morten Wells now ahead of Mike Tanti, and now there are 2 very, very fast drivers closing into him. Brian Larson and Powney. So it's like the podium from race number 1 just passing Mike Tanti. That's ahead of him. And then there's Brian Larson coming after Mike Tanti. The slight mistake out of the last corner. Red Bull Mobile corner. Oh, and Brian Larson coming out of turn number 1 a lot better than Mike Tanti, the Canadian driver who actually lives in Great Britain. It's probably the reason why he can race here in this series in the first place, because otherwise I think the night or daytime wouldn't fit probably. I think we should be like 7 or 8 hours back, but he's defending against Brian Larson, locking up his front wheels, and that's given the chance for Brian Larson to cross the line and stay in front of Mike Tanti. But he's definitely not making it easy for these guys now. I'm a bit surprised because now he has the race winner from race number 1 behind him, but he obviously doesn't think much about letting him pass without a fight. Maybe it's Mike Tanti thinking, wait a second, maybe I can keep these guys, hold these guys up, keep them behind me and have some fun. And Matt Powney very, very carefully. You can see that he knows that he's way ahead of Cliff van der Wien in this race now, so he can wait. He just stay in this position he has now. He's going up to 8th. He's 9 positions ahead of Cliff van der Wien in this race, so I don't think it will be a big trouble for him to take the championship lead after this round number 5. He now made it past Mike Tanti. It was interesting to see how Powney was really waiting and waiting, and not making a crazy move against Tanti, and just to secure this position to not lose any points in the championship. That of course gave Brian Larson a 2-second gap ahead of Powney. He's now chasing Nick Curry. Thorsten Berger closing into Dan Blake, but I don't think that will be enough. It's still more than 3 seconds of a difference. Brian Larson. Oh, there was a slight mistake by Nick Curry. Slight touching. Oh, Nick Curry can control the car, and Brian Larson as well, and he is through. Nick Curry down to 7th, Brian Larson up to 6th, but now he is, we will see the proper times just right now. So it's 2.5 seconds behind Morten Wells, and this is the last lap, so I don't think Brian Larson will make it up to the top 5. Morten Wells probably with the best overall result in this round number 5, but now we are with Dan Blake. Of course, he had the advantage from the reversed grid. Finished last in race number 1, and it looks like finishing he finished first in race number 2, taking his first victory in the Formula 3 Championship. While Matt Powney takes 7th position from Nick Curry. That was not that expected, but well, more points for Matt Powney. But now we are with Dan Blake. Final lap. Final corner. And that's the finish line for Dan Blake. He takes victory in race number 2 on the Red Bull Ring. Thorsten Berger in 2nd. And then there's Dimitar Yanev with an impressive 3rd position. Darius Seabright in 4th. And then there's Morten Wells in 5th, so a 3rd and a 2nd and a 5th place finish. Very good job by the Danish driver. Brian Larson finished in 6th. Then it's Matt Powney in 7th. Nick Curry in 8th. Mike Tanti in 9th. One of his better results in this season in the top 10. Rick Fowler in 10th. Then it's Jason Ashfield in 11th again. John Loden in 12th, Arnold Petkowski 13th, then Martin Ash in 14th, ahead of Nikos Papamikael, who had a lot of trouble after his accident with Sandro Zara, who finishes in 16th, and Cliff van der Wien was 1 lap down in 17th place, and this, I think, will get this man up into the lead in the championship, something that wasn't quite expected 2 rounds ago. But we will take a look on this man, Dan Blake. Very constant racing here in race number 2. No mistakes. He was controlling his lead after realizing that the fast drivers behind him had problems. Got into this big crash, and that made him take the victory here in race number 2 of this 5th round of the Sim-Lab.eu Formula 3 Championship, hosted by Excite Virtual Motorsports. And now we will take a short break, and I try to find someone who will give us an interview. As you know from our previous streams, broadcasts, these guys are, well, holding a little bit back. They don't want to give an interview. They don't want to talk when they know they are live. And I can assure you, you don't want to listen to that, what they are talking when they know they're not live. So give me a second. We'll make a short break, and then I hopefully will be back with someone who will give us some answers about how this race turned out for him. So, see you in a minute. So we are back with a short interview. I think with us now is Dan Blake, who had like a very interesting race. Probably, Dan, you finished last in race number 1 and finished first in race number 2. So your first victory here in the Formula 3 Championship. Congratulations! But I think you would have liked to win it in other circumstances, right?
A win's a win, Sebastian. But as you say, the first race I got involved in that first corner collision, a lot of damage, and then I had the P tracker stats flash up across my whole screen, so I had to go in and get rid of that. And yeah, it was an interesting race, the first one to forget really. But it put me in a good position for the second one. I think those first 2 or 3 laps of race 2 were crucial. I managed to pull the gap away. And then when Thorsten managed to catch up towards the end, I had that time to be able to manage the race and just make sure I clipped the apexes right and I didn't slide the car, and I could afford to be a little bit slower. I had about a 5-second lead, and I just managed the race really. Thorsten did well to try and catch me up, and I thought it was going to be close towards the end, but managed to hold off, and I'm delighted to get my first win.
Yeah, it looked very good. You looked, it looked like you controlling the second race very, very good, and that realized that caused that victory in the end for you. Yeah, the first track that was chosen in on Wednesday was Zandvoort, and then was switched to Red Bull Ring. You're happy with that, or would you rather like to race in Zandvoort?
I'm sure we'll go to Zandvoort later in the season, hopefully, but I don't mind really what track it's at. I can just get my practice and try and do as well as I can. I mean, for the championship, I think that first race is going to cost me a little bit there. Bidstrup is a bit unfortunate, but I think Cliff had a DNF in race 2, so that sort of evened things out. And I think between me, Cliff, Thorsten, and Matt, it's going to be very, very close. 4 great drivers, and it's just getting closer and closer by the week.
Yeah, that's true. It's getting very, very close in the championship now. So probably, yeah, you maybe be on the same point level now with Cliff Van de Veen. Matt Powney will stay, will get in front, I think, but not by that much, because he finished in 7th in the second race, so not the best position from you. You started from 7th in the first race, so yeah, what was you hoping for before the crash happened?
I think if I could get a top 5, I'd been quite happy really, because the main thing about this series is just getting consistent finishes. Even if you finish 4th or 5th, it's better than finishing and not finishing the race or being involved in the crash. So I was hoping to get maybe a top 5, but that's racing. These things happen. I know the admins are going to have a look at it and see what happened there on the first corner. But yeah, I think it's interesting really. It's good racing, and as I say before, it's very, very close in the championship. And I guess one of the pluses is I can use that as a drop score come the end of the round, end of the season. So hopefully I can use that one as a drop score, and it won't make too much difference. I've had a quite good season up to now with my consistency.
Yeah, so hopefully in the next race or in the next round of rounds, there won't be any more crashes like this, because there were some big ones tonight here on Red Bull Ring. Yeah, Dan Blake, again, congratulations for the first victory in the Formula 3 Championship, and thanks for the interview.
That's okay. Thank you to Sebastian for the footage and for the commentary and that, and also to Mike Tanti and those at XL for the series. Fantastic series. Really enjoy it. Keep up the good work, guys.
Yeah, and he, as he said, yeah, we will go on with the Formula 3 Championship in 2 weeks, and of course we again don't know which track it will be until Wednesday before the Friday of the race. So the next draw will be on August 23rd, and then we will know which track the drivers have to race on next. And as Dan already said, Zandvoort will hopefully still come up. There was an issue with the track because of the last update. Hopefully this will be fixed to maybe the next race, so maybe in 2 weeks we will see these guys racing on Zandvoort, but there are still some other tracks, very interesting tracks. So yeah, thanks for watching. It's getting late already, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.